Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are diving into something super powerful, recursion and nested functions in JavaScript. By the end of this video, you will know what recursion is and how functions can call themselves, how nested functions work, when and why to use them in coding. Let's jump in and have some fun. First, let's have a quick recap. Remember, functions can call other functions, like for example, function greet, console.log hello, function welcome, greet, console.log welcome. Then we call the welcome function. The output would be hello, welcome. Nested functions are functions defined inside other functions. It's super useful for organizing code. Let's take an example of nested functions. Function outer, console.log, I am the outer function. Function inner, console.log, I am the inner function. And call inner inside the outer function. And now, call the outer function. The output would be I am the outer function and I am the inner function. Inner functions can access outer function variables. It helps encapsulate logic and avoid polluting the global scope. Now let's talk about recursion. Recursion is when a function calls itself. It's super powerful for loops, trees, or solving complex problems. Like for example, counting down. Function countdown n, if n less than or equal to 0, console.log done. Return console.log n count n minus 1. Countdown 5. Always have a base case to stop the recursion. Otherwise, you will get an infinite loop and maybe crash your browser. Let's take a real example. Factorial. Recursion is perfect for math problems like factorial. Function factorial n, if n strict equal to 0, return 1. Return n by factorial n minus 1. Console.log factorial 5. It's 120. Because 5 factorial is 5 by 4 by 3 by 2 by 1. It's 120. Each call multiplies n by the factorial of n minus 1 until the base case is reached. You can also use nested functions inside recursion, like for example, function outer recursion of n, function inner multiply x, return x by 2. If n less than or equal to 0, return console.log inner multiply n, outer recursion n minus 1. Now call outer recursion of 3. The output would be 6, 4, and 2. Nested functions help keep logic private and organized inside the main recursive function. But remember, always define a base case in recursion. Use recursion for tree structures, nested arrays, or repeated tasks. Nested functions help encapsulate help logic. Practice with simple examples before tackling big algorithms. Just a wrap on recursion and nested functions. Play around with recursive functions. Once you get the hang of it, they will be super powerful for coding challenges and real-world projects. Keep practicing and have fun. See you next. Thank you. Now it's project time. Today we are diving into recursion and nested functions with hands-on mini project. By the end of this video, you will understand how recursion works in JavaScript, learn to use nested functions for organizing code, and build either a factorial calculator or a nested menu printer to practice recursion in action. Let's get coding and see recursion live. So, project overview. We have two options for mini project. Recursive factorial calculator. When you enter a number, calculate factorial using recursion. And nested menu printer. Print a menu with submenus, recursively using a nested function. Both projects are perfect for beginners to practice recursion and nested functions. First, let's have HTML setup. It's basic HTML. with an input with a number, type number, to get the factorial input, and then a button to calculate factorial, and then a paragraph to show the result. And for nested menu, we have a button to print the menu, and a pre-element to show the result. Now let's get the JavaScript. First, let's get the DOM elements. Factorial button, we get it by ID, factorial button. And factorial input, we get the same, using getElement by ID to get factorial input and factorial result. Let's get the factorial function. We will use recursive to get the factorial function. Function factorial n. If n less than or equal to 1, return 1. That's a base case. Return n by factorial of n minus 1. That's a recursive call. Now let's hook it to the factorial button. Factorial button.add event listener, click, constant n equals number, factorial input.value. We get the value of factorial input first. If n less than 0, we will show enter a positive number in factorial result.text content and return, because we can't get factorial for negative numbers. Factorial result.text content equals factorial of n is factorial n. Recursion calls the function inside itself. Always include a base case to stop recursion. Now let's work on nested menu printer. First, let's get the DOM elements. Constant menu button, document to get element by ID menu button, and menu result get element by ID for menu result. Now let's add a sample for nested menu. Constant menu, file, new, open, and exit. Edit, undo and redo. View, zoom in and out. Now let's work on the nested function to print menu recursively. Function print menu for menu object, let output. Function traverse object indent equals empty string for let key in object output plus equal index minus key traverse object key indent plus traverse menu object and return output. Now let's hook it to the button using event listener. Menu button.add event listener, click. Menu result.text content equals print menu. Nested function traverse keep recursion contained inside the print menu. You can print any depth of nested menu easily. So, at the end, we have quick tips. Recursion is when a function calls itself. Always include a base case to prevent infinite loops. Nested functions can help organize code and hide helper functions. It's great for calculations, tree structures, menus, and algorithms. And that's our recursion menu projects. Practice by changing the menu structure, calculating a factorial for larger numbers, experimenting with recursive arrays or objects. Keep practicing and your recursion skills will grow fast. See you next. Thank you.